were also charged and presented to court, while the forces personnel who threatened journalist Iqbal Atas were also brought before the law. This is how we acted. When there were allegations, we even had a trial at bar against many personnel of the army. This is how responsible governments behave to allegations of state violence, which is inevitable. Please answer later. I have only please. This is how responsible governments behave, sir, in allegations of state violence, which is inevitable, especially in countries that are fighting the menace of terrorism. Of course, there would be shortcomings when you are fighting a war against terrorism. But as the International Commission of Jurists in the Berlin Declaration of 28 August 2004 stated, Mr. Chairman, Deputy Chairman of Committee, I quote, in adopting measures aimed at suppressing acts of terrorism, states must adhere strictly to the rule of law, including the core principles of criminal and international law and the specific standards and obligations of international human rights.
You have 2 more minutes.
2 more. And also states that, I quote, the odious nature of terrorist acts cannot serve as a basis or pretext for states to disregard their international obligations, unquote. And also the Council of Europe also articulated the need to uphold the law when terrorism in 1992. In 2002, I quote again, while the state has the right to employ to the full its arsenal of legal weapons to repress and prevent terrorist activities, it may not use indiscriminate measures which would only undermine the fundamental values they seek to protect. For a state to react in such a way would be to fall, this is very important, into the trap set by terrorism for democracy and the rule of law, unquote. Unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, for us in Sri Lanka, the government seems to have fallen into this trap. The way the government, especially the External Affairs Ministry, along with the rest of the cabinet, is handling this present crisis. This is a good example where this whole bunch of monkeys were shouting. Prabhakaran may well have the last laugh from beyond the grave. So, for the sake of our country, the government must act in a responsible manner to save its reputation. Let experienced diplomats handle this situation instead of the jokers and amateurs who have been posing as diplomats over the last 4 years. Let us not forget for a moment that this crisis has been brought on by the government itself. I'm finishing, sir. As I pointed out in this House last Friday, it was MP Mahinda Rajapaksa himself who invited the UN and other international human rights agencies to intervene in Sri Lanka 21 years ago, and I tabled that speech also. Even recently, the United Nations Secretary General stated that he is acting on the basis of the joint statement of the government of Sri Lanka and United Nations Secretary General on 23rd May 2009, in which the government had given an undertaking to take measures to address the grievances being relating to violations of human rights. You're the people who gave an undertaking that you will do it.
It's going to finish.
The question has not been refuted by the government nor by the foreign ministry, and nor have you stated that the joint statement is inoperative. Therefore, in conclusion, sir, the government has obviously conceded the position of the UNSG, and therefore I must request that the government, I say this, the government must cooperate with the United Nations to clear the name of our country instead of howling and growling at the moon like a pack of demented wolves. Thank you.
Yes, what is your point of order, please? Yes. That is not a point of order.